You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Then together we are
Rope Break.
Welcome, and it's Tuesday night, and it's time to talk about NXT, a show that had a lot of good things, a lot of good segments. We're going to have the rematch with Karrion Kross and Finn Balor. We're going to find out what happened, and also face-off between Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase. Finally, they're going to meet two billionaires or millionaires. So, Paul, a lot of good things happening in this show. Other ones, like the first hour, like a little bit like, same stuff, same bullshit. But, I think towards the end, the second hour was a lot better.
Yeah, this NXT, the past couple of weeks, they've been giving us solid shows. It's definitely not the worst wrestling that takes place on Mondays. I'm officially giving them the crown. AEW, you're no longer the worst. It now goes to Monday nights. But, NXT is kind of the middle. Like, if you like a lot of the superstars on the show, you can really get into it. But if you're just judging it from an overall wrestling show standpoint, they do, like you said, some things really good, some things, kind of more the same, kind of just boring.
Yes, exactly. So, family, thank you for being with us. Thank you for the love, the subscriptions, comments, everything you do for the channel. We're going to be dissecting every single thing of the show. But before, let's go to the king. To like the winners of like the crown of the worst show in the world. It doesn't matter if it's wrestling, any sports, or any show at all. It's just the worst show ever. Yet another match, and they're going to have a rematch next week. Monday Night Raw review. At least Jean-Paul has the balls to cover this show, the effort, because this is insufferable. A lot of people complaining, no fresh faces. And I want your thoughts, Adnan Burke, fired from the WWE, today in the morning. Like, what are your thoughts? Because to me, I will tell you, like, a guy that does not know wrestling is already like is a missed opportunity. I would say is a pretty stupid experiment for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely wasn't bad, but maybe they go, hey, SmackDown has a two-man team. It does pretty good, and we can maybe have hopefully a two-man team on Monday Night Raw. Corey Graves, Byron Saxton. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna bring Jerry Lawler back. Who knows? But to me,
JBL,
just have it be the two-man team. Even if you do Corey Graves and JBL, turn Corey Graves babyface. Because you always have to have a heel babyface announcer. But two is enough. Adnan, it sucks because he was actually growing on me, but it is what it is.
Yes, it's true. Like the one thing, like again, to me, like I said, is if he wasn't born into the wrestling world, he wasn't able to convey the excitement and the passion to call professional wrestling. But the one thing is, like, if you have somebody already telling you what to do or what to say every single time, it's going to be even more difficult. So you know what? Good luck in your future endeavors, Anand. You try. Hey, failed experiment, that's fine. A lot of people fired today in the WWE. More cuts. Just, like John Paul says, it's trimming the fat. So, let's talk about NXT, Paul. Like, it started out with, like, #1 contender for, like, the Women's Tag Team Championships. And that was, like, Shotzi Blackheart and Amber Moon against Raquel Gonzalez, the Women's Champion, and Dakota Kai. Again, why are we having this match when you're going to give me the same winner, Paul?
Yeah, I don't understand this. I thought this would have been the perfect opportunity to really solidify Raquel. Dakota Kai here, make Raquel a double champ. Dakota Kai, she gets gold on her, and then you can tell the story. Maybe when they lose the belts, they can blame each other, and then that's when you can split them apart and do their feud in between, Raquel and Dakota. But, they're really behind this Ember and Shotzi team, which, I don't know. They just don't click for me. I don't know what it is. To me, I just see them as two singles competitors thrown in a tag team. I don't see them as a tag team. But this match, it was good. Ember, I really like. I think Ember's good. Shotzi's all right. Of course, Dakota was the one who was doing a lot of the jobbing in here. You got to portray the champ strong. I did like at the end when she countered that big power bomb into the Eclipse. I thought that was legit. And, of course, then when Raquel gets kind of taken out of everything and Dakota comes back in, that's when the big up. Baby faces are going to win. They hit their finisher and they win. Which, like you said, it's pretty much Monday, turn it into Monday Night Raw, Rematch Mania.
Yeah,
we're seeing the same thing over and over.
Yes.
And then, of course, the champ, and the heels had to look strong, beat down after the match and everything, like you have here in the picture. I mean, it definitely wasn't a bad match, but again, unless you're really into the women and into their women's wrestling, you should start off with like a match that's kind of fresh, more something that, is interesting to be like, whoa, what's this? Like, this catches my attention. Not saying the women don't do that, but this is definitely a match we've seen before. So it's like
we've seen so many times. So it's like another rerun, like rematch mania here in NXT and Monday Night Raw. There's no fresh ideas. And the one thing that you mentioned is I would much rather see like the dissension between Raquel and Dakota maybe after the match. They didn't see that. They're still good. They're still a unit. And you just said also, Ember Moon and Shotzi, they could actually be two possible next feuds for Raquel. Later on, let's start with Ember. Okay, maybe 1, 2 months. All right, you can beat them. Then you go to Shotzi. Okay, fresh matchups. You don't have a woman for Raquel right now. Who is it? We don't know yet. So that's the one thing that is annoying, especially the same match and the same winner. So we're gonna see the rematch. It's a much better. You just give me the rematch with Indy and also Candice. So he didn't.
Yeah, and I know people are gonna say, "Oh, you always say you want to see heels and baby faces, not heels versus heels, babyface versus babyface." But hey, I mean, at this point, I'd rather take the fresh matchup.
Well, no, exactly, and also you have to always give me new set of baby faces and new set of heels. If that's what it been, then I will be watching the same match, for the whole entire year. You'll be older because they're baby faces and they're heels. No, okay. No. You need
both women's tag team divisions on NXT and the main roster are suffering. It should have never been 2 divisions. It should have just been 1. You could have had Natty and Tamina down here wrestling Raquel and Dakota Kai, something like that. But
exactly.
Instead, we get what we get.
Out of desperation. When you make those things and you don't dedicate the time to build, it suffers. So let's talk about Tommaso Ciampa also and Timothy Thatcher. They cut a promo on the Grills veterans because they just want to beat him because of what they did Legado del Fantasma last week. They help him out to win the match. So I think in 1 week or in 2 weeks they're gonna have this match. So you see they're pissed off. Timothy Thatcher is really, I don't want to say that ugly, but he can get scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ciampa cuts the big promo. He's like, we won the first match. You won the second or whatever it was, and he's like, now we got to have the match. To kind of, he's like, we're gonna take care of you guys first before we go after the tag titles. You can't put the cart before the horse. So, and then Thatcher's new thing is he smiles, like he said, is ugly. He's missing a bunch of teeth and whatever. And then they grab the camera and start, yelling and screaming. And to me, when you see Thatcher with his teeth and all that, and it's not intimidating to me. It's it's funny. It makes you laugh. So maybe don't do that, but maybe that's why they're trying to be funny and also intimidating. I don't know. I am looking forward to the match because the match, even though we're both in the Grills of Young Veterans camp, Ciampa and Thatcher are probably going to win, but it'll still be a good match. So
it will be. And also,
at least this is a legit feud. At least it's not just random match, that we see over and over. They're having an actual feud.
And for example, they do things to keep the feud going. For example, they fought Legado, the Girls and Veterans help Legado, so the Legado won over them. So okay, then we have more reasons to keep fighting rather than then there's nothing else. Okay, let's go about the rematch.
Yeah, exactly.
So makes sense. So let's move to the next one. Bobby Fish against Pete Dunne. This one was a pretty good match. And, the return of Bobby Fish actually as a singles competitor, new music, new kind of attitude. But Pete Dunne is the guy that they're trying to push now. Remember, the feud with Finn Balor. What did he say? I'm looking for Karrion Kross. So you kind of see the path right here. Pay attention because this might be the championship match at NXT TakeOver in your house. So I like this match. Like I said, Bobby Fish really dominated at the beginning. Pete Dunne will equalize. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean this was good. Like you said, Bobby Fish in the beginning. Pete Dunne, he had the big kind of bruise, puffiness under his eye. Probably Bobby Fish was probably yeah, here's your receipt, asshole. For breaking my arm. So he gave him a good hit there, and he looked good. But like you said, the story is Pete Dunne, and not to be like Ciampa and put the cart before the horse, but they did announce Pete Dunne is in a #1 contenders triple threat. We'll get to the other contenders in a little bit. So you knew Pete Dunne, and even though this happened before that, Pete Dunne was the guy you knew they were going to push, because if Bobby Fish came back and won, I mean, yeah, it would have been a great story, but it would have killed all the momentum Pete Dunne had going.
Yes, exactly. So you didn't
want to do that. But this was still a really good, hard-fought match. Of course, Pete Dunne going after, the recently repaired arm and everything. And, he got the good win, in an even better match. But it's one of the things is where does Bobby Fish go from here? Because you would think, he can just go back to Roderick Strong or Kyle O'Reilly. It's no, he can't right now. So it's interesting to see what they do with him and where he kind of fits in to this NXT puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. You're right on that. And then, like you said, the jaw manipulation, bitter end, I love that move. The bitter end, when he executes that, is always a legit win. And like you said, after that, only Larkin came out. And right there, you just started just beating up Bobby Fish and all of that. And you see, maybe right there's the feud for you. Where's Bobby Fish? Right there. They're going to have this match because there's still something for them to do. At least, there's not going to be a title involved. But you see the hatred because each other, they cause something. With Danny Burch and all of that, and now that Bobby Fish is coming back
that's a match I could easily see Bobby Fish. Boom, he wins that one-on-one encounter, But then what? Like this isn't a long feud. This match between him and Fish isn't going to be like a #1 contender for anything. It's like you got to give me a real solid, like long-term feud for this guy, because he is one of the best guys you have on NXT, Bobby Fish. Especially when we see him in matches like this, you go, man, okay, this guy's pretty legit.
Maybe he will try with Don one more time. Like I said, like at least he's back, and and this mini feud can be like the warm up. Okay, maybe let's see how the crowd respond to you. Let's see the legitness. Hey, maybe let's put you with somebody else. Let's try, but at least Bobby Fish is back, or maybe not, because they keep injuring the arm. Don't do it. Done. We'll see what happens on that. We're gonna hear from the champion Bronson Reed, the new North American champion, in a little bit. Everybody's just loving it. We don't love it. It's whatever. Let's talk about Isaiah Swerve Scott and Hit the Road. They had a good promo. I like what they said also, like every single one targeting the champions. Adonis exposed. He said like Kushida, the cruiserweight champion, I'm gonna go against him. They also said something about the tag titles, Legado del Fantasma, MSK, and all of them. So that's good. Isaiah Swerve Scott also like targeting at the North American Championship. Also like the girl, I think the girl was the only one that didn't say Raquel, I think. But you see like they're unit, they're cohesive, and I like that.
Yeah, and that's probably because she's not ready to be on TV to really go after somebody like that. But I do like also how Swerve Scott, after they were done, before he cut his, he was just like tick tock. So it's like I don't think he's talking about the app where everybody dances. No, I think he's talking about again Karrion Kross.
Oh yeah,
he could be another matchup we see. With him going after Karrion. He has this new attitude, new gimmick. New momentum, new everything. So I wouldn't mind seeing that match as well. It'll be a good win for Karrion, good match. Good exposure for Swerve Scott and his group. And I like this promo. I have no problem with them. So far, it just you gotta see what they do with it, because you can't keep cutting promos and not actually have feuds.
They need to have more matches, but at least finally Swerve Scott feels confident. You see the guy finally has something to offer, because remember, he's a good wrestler, but we said many times, hey, what is he going on? What is he about? That was the main thing. Now he has a group, some guys that like support him, they back him up. So we'll see what happens. What is the thing that they do at the end?
Some hand thing.
It's a really cool thing, For the next show, we'll have that memorized for you, family. But let's go to the face-off. Teddy DiBiase and Cameron Grimes. This was good. Not the way that we thought it was going to go, though, because we thought that they were going to be friends. A lot of reports told that the $1 million championship is going to come back, but at least Teddy DiBiase was back on NXT, and they had a pretty good thing. And then the beginning, and we got to see Tony Storm also with Teddy DiBiase. They only add this. It's like, look, yeah. They added to make it more fun or anything. That the $1 million man was right there, but then they talk about.
Well, he was probably checking out the $1 million backside.
Well, that's exactly. That's $1 million backside, right? Absolutely. So Cameron Grimes and Teddy DiBiase, they start to talk about, and then they go, well, remember, at the beginning, I have a lot of respect for you. We had a lot of things in common. That's what Cameron Grimes says. Is like, hey, I was just actually, I look up to you because you show that how you can be a millionaire and treat people like absolute shit and yet still be liked. So Teddy DiBiase responding the same thing, saying all of the same things, like, hey, yeah, you remind me a little bit of me when I was younger and all of that. But all of a sudden, Paul, LA Knight shows up. And I really like this because LA Knight is so much more better on the mic that even DiBiase and Cameron Grimes combined. And it's just, to me, he exemplifies what a millionaire should be. The colors, all of that, and making fun of people. To me, LA Knight is just the best thing on NXT, period.
LA Knight is great. And, because DiBiase said to Cameron Grimes, you can't just have the money. You also got to be able to, work in the ring, and, you got to be good. And he's like, lately, I feel like you lost your way. And, and then LA Knight comes out, and LA Knight's like, I didn't lost my way pretty much because, I am in the way. Not they weren't saying the way.
Yeah, not Johnny Gargano or anything.
But, he's pretty much saying he's on track. He has the $1 million body. Everything. He checks all the boxes. And then of course, that the crowd was chanting something at him, and he's like, "Hey, shut up, you bunch of incels." So the LA Knight is so good. And then
he was proposing for them to actually get to form a team, or DiBiase to be the manager or something like that. But then Cameron Grimes is like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, just relax. It's not about me. It's not about you, LA Knight. It's about me. And he's like, what did he say? He's like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass to the moon, something like that. So get the hell out of here. So you see that. So the mini feud. Then LA Knight did his finisher, that a flatliner, face buster right there. And what did you think? I like this. I like where it's going, and the involvement of LA Knight to me is going to make this thing a lot better. Not too great for Grimes, but they never like actually do justice to Cameron.
Oh yeah, I think this is a good way to turn Cameron Grimes babyface because I feel like he's so goofy and he's so likable, even though he's a heel. Like right now, or maybe not anymore, but before this segment. But to me, he's a babyface. He's goofy, he's lovable, but he's also legit in the ring. You cheer for him and everything. So turn him babyface and put DiBiase with LA Knight. To me, that's a better combo. I didn't see that coming just because LA Knight is so good talking on his own. But see, DiBiase adds the money to him now, and he can go, I'm the manager. Here, he can give him the $1 million bill. It'll be almost the same thing like Steve Austin, because LA Knight is such a good wrestler. That could be like when they had Steve Austin, stunning Steve.
The Ring Master.
Yeah, the Ring Master, something like that. I'm not saying call him the Ring Master or do anything like that, but it kind of gives you those vibes where LA Knight says he's the best wrestler, he's the most legit. So technically, he would be the master of the ring. So, kind of do something like that. So I'm all for it. And like I said, Cameron Grimes being babyface. This was probably one of the best segments on the whole show because it made a lot of sense.
All of that, yes.
And it furthered both guys. Turning Cameron Grimes babyface is the right move, and pairing DiBiase with LA Knight is the right move.
I think so. I like that too. I agree with you. So let's go to Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez, remember, she lost the match with Raquel, first feud that she had for the new NXT Women's Champion. So she said, you know what? After today, I'm back into the title picture, and she went against Saida Remier. Remember, I think she was the girl that beat Toni Storm 2 weeks ago. So you see they have the match, but here Mercedes completely dominated. She's good. She did what is the airplane It's not that
the air raid crash.
The air crash. There you go. Yeah. It's the air crash. Really good move, and then this time, I'm so unfortunate for Remier. She was not good enough. She didn't stand a chance. She didn't have as much offense as we saw in Toni Storm. But in the end, the big thing is that you're just promoting Raquel. We got to see Boa actually before she went on the ring, so you kind of saw that where she was going. And now Tia Shah, that's the group of Xia Li, Boa, and May Yim. They just show up, and then all of a sudden Raquel has the tattoo, right? The print in her arm, and in the hand, and she's what the hell? How did I get this? So you see where Mercedes Martinez unfortunately is gonna go, because this is not good. I don't think that she deserves this. She should have another opportunity to be champion and actually be the champion. But I don't know what you think, Paul.
I mean, see, I'm actually fine with this because we said, where's Xia Li? You got to do something with her. See, you bring her back. I feel like Xia Li can go over in this feud against Martinez, and then maybe you do something, you build it up, you get Saray a couple more wins, and then you could do a #1 contender, Saray versus Xia Li. I think that matchup would be legit because they're both really hard hitting. One's Chinese, one's Japanese, but Asian, women, get them in the main event because we saw this success with Io and Asuka, Kairi, all in NXT. So we see they push them. They know those women are successful here on this brand. And then, Saray could go over, and that would be a good baby face to go against Raquel. Or if you want to, maybe you go, hey, let's not push Saray right away, and you want to go all in on Xia Li, you can do Xia Li versus Raquel. To me, a heel versus heel is a more believable matchup than babyface versus babyface. So I'm all for it. And, it sucks for Mercedes, but at least I feel like it'll make this feud more legit than Xia Li feuding with Caden Carter or Casey Catanzaro.
Oh yeah, that. At least like you said, but you took what, Paul? 3-4 weeks that you don't know what to do with the girl, and now it's okay, we have something for you, Mercedes. We'll see what they do, but at least this is interesting. Like I said, I'm not so for it, but I want to see where it ends up. So we'll give it a few weeks and see where it goes. So now let's go with the debut of Franky Monet. Finally, we've seen this girl for so many weeks, cutting promos, kind of feuding with Io Shirai in the middle of Shotzi and Amber, all of this. So finally, she was ready to debut, and she had a pretty nice match. The Wera Loca, how she calls herself, the days of Impact, the days of AAA, and pretty much the Taya Valkyrie we know. And she went against Cora Jade, and pretty much this was completely 95% domination from Franky, and at the end the road to Valhalla. Or the Glam Slam, and 1, 2, 3, she gets the win.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. We figured it was okay, are they going to do a big feud, a long match? But see, this brand knows how to debut somebody, get them over. At least, for the most part, they do. She had a very quick, dominant win. to show, hey, I'm legit, and that's what you got to do. Before putting her in a feud, get her a bunch of wins over some job people. So, she looks dominant going into her first feud. So I was fine with this. And, she looks good. Like you said, I love how she still calls herself Libero Loca, all that stuff. I mean, it's badass. So.
Oh, yeah, I know. You remember when Beth Phoenix, she said, like, that move is familiar when she did the Glam Slam. That was really cool. So, there you go. So don't forget, family, NXT TakeOver in Your House is going to be on June 13th. Robert will have, of course, the review, every single thing that happened. So please stay tuned for that. It's going to be, again, in 2 Sundays from now. So, we will be talking about all of that day. And let's talk about Indy Hartwell, Paul, because she's looking for Dexter Lumis. And he's like, so I want to see him. I don't know where he's at. And then he sees the Young Bucks. I mean, Everrise. It says Young Bucks live. I mean, no, Everrise live. So, he's like, where's Dexter? And see, that's what you see the face. Like, are you guys Everrise or the Young Bucks? So we don't really know. But in the end, you get to see, these pictures that she comes into a room and she see, how obsessed Dexter Lumis is with Indy. And unfortunately, he's broken heart. He's heartbroken. There you go. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm not into the storyline. I could really care less. It's probably going to be the reason why they lose the titles in the match against Ember and Shotzi. So, more of the same bullshit. I don't, next.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's move on from it. Let's talk about the champion, Bronson Reed, North American champion. A lot of media that she's, a lot of popularity that she's gaining also in Australia for doing this in NXT. So, he kind of comes out and she talks about the 14-year journey that he's had, many ups and downs. Colossal win against Johnny Gargano, all of that. But at least we know who's going to be the first challenger. Are you surprised by that? Because our boy, Legado del Fantasma with Santos Escobar, he's the one that comes out and says, you know what, North American Championship is actually United States and Mexico. And I think it's the Wild. That's this. What about Canada? Canada doesn't count. We actually kind of said that. So, but he says he wants that title. He says, I've been looking at you and not like your big mass, but I just want your title. So pretty good stuff. I like this. A good
I like this. I like this first challenger for Bronson Reed. I love everything that he said. Mexico is North America. We want, I'm part of that title. And he's like, it took you 14 years to get here, to climb and crawl your way to the top. He's like, I was born at the top. He's like, this business was pretty much built for me, to be its king. I'm the king of, Lucha Libre, all this stuff. So, I mean, this was great promo. And this is a good first feud. Unfortunately, and people normally in somebody's first feud, they go over. I hope that's not the case here. Really push Santos. I feel this would kind of kill his momentum as well. If he just lost the Cruiserweight title, he should get another big win, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but in the end, of course, we got to see MSK because they're feuding with the other 2 members of Legado del Fantasma because they were all going to jump on Bronson Reed, but now you see the 3 of them against the other 3, so probably a 6-man tag. In the works,
and this killed the segment for me. I don't know how you go, but this just killed it.
It sucks that actually we when MSK debuted we had high hopes for them, but the fact that they only do this, they just show up as the worst kind of babyface in the worst babyface fashion. They just show up to just help out people. I don't really like that at all.
Every segment with them feels like AEW.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's not good. But also we got to see a promo, but like I said, the Grills Young Veterans and also Walter is still with the Zoom sessions. We got to see that. He was talking to Agner and also the other person, the other 2 members of Imperium. He said Alexander Wolf is no longer with us. He says, but you guys have to restore what you guys lost at the beginning. And it's when you lost the titles to Fandango and also Tyler Breeze. So you're gonna have a match and to make sure you go over. The mat is sacred. The fact that he's not even in there is the Zoom sessions. We don't know where he's at.
Yeah, yeah. And again, we give our in-depth opinion about Walter on Thursdays, but I do like the promo by the Grizzled Young Veterans. They're listen, Ciampa, Thatcher, you're bullshit. We're done with you. We want MSK. We want the belts. So to them, the feud's over. So it's really not because, Ciampa and Thatcher are probably going to jump them at some point. But, good promo nonetheless.
Yes, exactly. So what did you think about, you said, this announcement? Next week's going to be a triple threat match, and the winner faces the NXT champion and NXT TakeOver. It's going to be Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, and Johnny Gargano. I feel it's going to be a pretty good match, and then is when Pete Dunne is going to go over. Like you said, Pete Dunne has to have that opportunity. I'm going to put my money on Pete Dunne. Maybe Kyle O'Reilly will be the one, and Gargano is just added there because there's nothing really for him to do because he's completely out the North American Championship picture.
Yeah, I know, and this match, you see, I know they're trying to figure this out for the pay per view, but I mean, I don't know. Man, when is the pay per view? June what,
June
13th?
13.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, well then, I guess you got to. I just feel like it was quick. You could have kind of built this up, made it feel special, because I don't know what you're going to do with the other guys. Let's say Pete Dunne wins, which I think he will. What do you do with the other two guys at the pay per view? There's really nothing for them. You maybe should have already had another #1 contender built up for Karrion Kross already or something. But this match should still be good. I think Pete Dunne's he's going to go over, and him and Karrion are going to put on a great match.
Yeah, and also, like I said, next week is going to be the Tag Team Championship. We just mentioned them, MSK, Legado, Fantasma. Can Legado please win? Can we do us a favor, like get that title and bring back the Lucha Libre style, restore like our hope in professional wrestling just because they have to win? That would be great. What do you think? You put your money on Legado too, right?
I mean, yeah, I would love to see them win, and especially you have Santos if he wins the North American Championship. I mean, to me that would be great, but I really don't know. Hopefully that's the case. But if it does go to Legado, I feel like they're going to be transitional. I feel like they're going to get it and then probably soon drop it to Thatcher and Ciampa.
Oh, and hopefully Thatcher and Ciampa, you know what that is? Their version of like Moxley and Kingston.
Yep, I was thinking the same thing.
Like there's like the same stuff. The one is semi-smart, the other one's a complete idiot. Yeah, bro. No. I don't like that at all. I absolutely don't like that at all. So let's go finally to the main event. Karrion Kross and Finn Balor 2. Great, like you said, video packages last week. A lot of good build-up. Paul Heyman not even able to say who the winner was going to be. Hey, it's so difficult to call this. Did it live up to the hype? That's the main question, and we're going to ask the best analyst in the business, Jean-Paul Eck, because I feel that you mentioned something really important. The picture-in-picture when it comes to main caliber matches like this completely kills the momentum, completely kills the vibe that you're getting it. You want to get into the match, and when you just go and see T-Mobile or announcements for food, I want to get the food and I forget about the match at all. I just don't want to see it.
Obviously, you have a 2-hour show. You have so many minutes of that 2 hours. You have to show commercials. Just load the commercial heavy in the beginning. Then the last half an hour, no commercials. You know what I mean? Or at least in this schedule however long your championship match is, no commercials. As soon as this thing started, not even a minute into the match, you already go to picture-in-picture. Balor dominates during the picture-in-picture for the most part. Then we come back, 5 more minutes of match. Yeah, it was good. Then you go to picture-in-picture again, and that's when they start brawling all around the arena and all the bullshit. And I mean, yeah, I like when the action takes place in the ring. But that stuff around the arena, sometimes if you see a guy get his head thrown through the plexiglass or something like that, that affects the story of the match. So I would like to be able to see that, and don't have it in a little square in the corner of my TV. So the picture-in-picture really takes me out of it. I wish this was on the pay-per-view. And you see, that's it. This could have been on the pay-per-view, and so could that triple threat. So you didn't even have to do this match on free TV. But, nonetheless, it was still good. I don't think it lived up to the hype, but maybe it would have. If, again, we didn't see the 2 picture-in-pictures, it was on the pay-per-view and stuff. To me, the only real problem, and I like how Scarlett, even in this, she was selling it like, oh my God, it's done. She was pacing around. She looked nervous and everything. But to me, I just hate the ending where it's he sets him, Balor, he had the double stomps and everything. He got out of the straitjacket a few times. And, it was good. It had a lot of back and forth, but just the momentum when he just gets the submission in, and he just kind of chokes out Balor, and then it's the ref. I felt like the bell actually rang before the ref gave the hand signal to ring the bell. I don't know if my TV was just lagging behind or what it was, but I'm I thought maybe Scarlett was ringing the bell or something. I'm what's going on? But again, I wish Karrion would just hit him, boom, the Saito suplex, do something, 1, 2, 3, get a big pin of 1, 2, 3, pin the guy like that, because all the time we see Roman just choke people out. We see it with Daniel Bryan, we see it with Cesaro, we see it, all the time. The only time we really didn't see it
already has a submission move.
The only time we really didn't see it was WrestleMania. So to me, the match was good. I won't say it was bad or flat or whatever. The match was good, but the ending was completely you just let all the air out of the balloon. I just hate those because they had so much momentum and then it came to a screeching halt. Chokehold. Oh, is he done? Is he done? Is he done? Is he done? Yeah, he's done. It's just okay.
Yeah, this him trying the straight jacket also was okay. Then he transitioned to the triangle choke. That was also good. I like the this, but like you said at the beginning, at the end, is like, can he get just a like pin? Can he pin him and win? Because
Yeah.
like you can always say, oh, he didn't pin me, so they go another match, and I don't think that's the way to go for Finn Balor.
No.
I really don't want that. And then Karrion hit like those big forearms into like the neck and all of that, and yet he didn't win. Balor tried the same thing. That I did like, because it's like, hey, you're trying to do the same thing that like your opponent. And then even like Big Joseph was like, oh, and now Karrion Kross is feeling what like everybody else feels when he does that. But like you said, in the end, he puts like the straight jacket one more time, and Finn Balor, his face is turning red. I don't see it right there. Maybe my monitor doesn't have colors, but I just see the Finn Balor as white as like like of the 4 a.m. when you open the fridge. Now I don't see anything different than that. But in the end, like you said, Paul, like Karrion Kross retains. Is this the end for Finn Balor in NXT, Paul?
I mean, that's tough to say because it all depends. What are you going to do with him on the main roster?
Yeah.
If he goes to SmackDown, I feel like he'd have to feud with Roman, but he really gonna wherever he goes, he has to win his next feud. To me, if you want to do this again, you can do this match a third time, but it has to be the Demon, and he has to beat Karrion, and then Karrion goes up to the main roster. I don't even know if Finn wants to go to the main roster. That's the whole thing. I would say no, he's not done because they didn't do like a thank you, Finn. I feel like they would have, because all the fans aren't real fans. It's all performance center, jockeys. So they would have been like, hey, do like a thank you, Finn, do a clap, do some kind of bullshit. If he was leaving again or whatever, maybe he'll take some time off. But I think he's going to be in NXT for a while.
Yeah, like a lot of people are saying that this is the end for Finn Balor, that he's gonna go back to the main roster. So we'll see what happens. Like, I don't think he's done. Like you said, he doesn't want to go back. Although, like, he was like interviewed not too long ago, and he was saying that he would like to resume his feud with the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. What is like? Is this version of Finn Balor good for the main roster? Probably, but we know that Vince McMahon is not gonna like use this version of Finn Balor. He's gonna go back to Smiley Finn. We're gonna go back to all of that. So he's gonna get lost one more time. Does he want to do that, or does he rather stay here and maybe feud with like a Santos Escobar? Newer feuds that he have, like maybe like Bobby Fish.
Or like we said, there is the possible feud with Walter as well.
Yeah. Or like go to NXT UK, easy.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to Europe. Be with your people. Do a tour or something. Stay there for a few months, then come back, and then we'll see what we have there. So pretty much that's what it is, family. In the end, Karrion Kross retains the championship. And like you said, either Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, or Johnny Gargano are waiting for him to be the next person in line for NXT TakeOver in your house. Family, thank you so very much for this review. Thank you for the love that you give us. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. And also, follow us in the rest of the social media that we have.
That is Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
Thank you, family. Tomorrow no AEW is going to be on Friday, so remember that tomorrow nothing is a day of rest for the Rope Break. So thank you, every single one of you. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is